Greetings, this is Brother Dawood. In this video, I would like to go in on a person by the name of Randall Watts, also known as Calliope Slim, who is the cousin of rap star Mr. Servon and the honorary cousin of the owner, CEO, and founder of No Limit Records, Master P. Randall is from Calliope Projects, 3rd Ward, Uptown, New Orleans. He was believed to be a hired killer and a shot caller and a kingpin. His spot of chilling and relaxation, so to say, was that of a spot called the Rose Tavern. The Rose Tavern was like a bar or a lounge that was across the street from the Thalia Courtway and Calliope Projects. You know, you hear the stories that how he was the Calliope landlord and that he used to help people, and that when things happened in the projects or people had problems within their family, that Randall would come to the rescue and he had resolved the matter. He was also looked at as like a Robin Hood type figure. You know, he used to take the earnings from his dealings and his other jobs and supply the kids in the neighborhood with like school clothes and school supplies and things of that matter. You follow? And he was also coined to be or associated with another kingpin by the name of Richard Pena, who is believed to be the relative or associate of rappers Cain and Abel from No Limit Records. But in 1997, a tragic event had happened. He was on parole. And when a person is on parole, they can't carry their gun because it risks their freedom of them being searched and patted down by the cops, and then the result of them going back to jail. You follow? He was chased and gunned down across the street from the Rose Tavern and the Thalia Courtway and the Calliope Projects. Him not having his gun resulted in his death. Maybe if he'd have had his gun or some type of protection on him, so to say, this event could have had been offsetted, or probably would have never happened the way it did. And this event caused anger and bitterness, and the word on the street that Terrence Gangster Williams, who is the brother from Baby for Cash Money, was the accomplice of this assassination on Randall Watts or Calliope Slim life. No Limit Records was at its breakthrough this year, 1997. Master P did a tribute song called Is There Heaven for a Gangster. His funeral included a second line in which the casket was hosted in the air by drones of pallbearers, and they paraded through the legendary Rose Tavern at Thalia and Durga Wall Street. A mural depicting Watts with angel wings, now adored at exterior wall of the bar, just steps away from where he was murdered at. You follow? At this time, Cash Money was on the rise. It was rumored that Cash Money approached Master P for some advice or distribution, and that there was an exchange of words, to the point that this would cause the tension between No Limit Records and Cash Money, a tension between the Calliope and the Magnolia, and the tension between Master P and Baby. Come to find out that Terrence Gangsta Williams didn't have nothing to do with the murder. It was rumored that he was set up by the same people who had paid to put out that paid him to put out a hit on someone. His cousin, Mr. Servon, mentions his name on a life insurance album on a song titled Get Your Fetty. And on that same album, Master P mentioned him on a song called Trying to Make It Out the Ghetto. Plus, on Mr. Servon's other album, titled Another Level, there's a song called The Final Song. And on that song, Mr. Servon said that someone told him that if he mentioned Calliope Slim's name again on a record, that his body was going to have more holes in it than his cousin Calliope Slim or Randall had in it, which was 18 bullets. Man, that's horrific, man. Like, these people out here, they cold, man. They playing for keeps. Like, sometimes I wonder who was the person that said that to him. You follow? Like, that's strange. You know, plus rapper Skullduggery gives him a shout out on his album on a title called Pain. And he said that he mentioned them. He said Randu, big baller hauler, got killed in the Calliope in New Orleans. He respected and gave homage to Randall Watts. You know, Randall appeared in Master P movie Bout It. He was the gentleman that had the jersey on and a Thalia courtway walking with the dog. The one that told Master P where Half Pint was, where he kidnapped Silk in that movie. You follow? And plus, Randall made a cameo on the True album on a title called True to the Game, where he's talking with Big Boz of No Limit about how things have changed. You know, and they talk about trying to school the next generation on how to come up and get out of that mindset that was once permeating the streets of New Orleans. And that track is called The Final Ride. And what's funny about that same song, another big name was mentioned on that song. And the name of the person who mentioned on that song was a person by the name of Big Mo. You hear the stories about Big Mo, how he used to jack people without a gun. And that people really feared Big Mo. And that there was people that wanted to have that same effect on people. They said that Big Mo instilled fear in people. Like, he instilled fear in people with the way how he carried himself. And you know, and Big Mo, he had appeared on a song titled I Did That by Juvenile. You know? But this whole thing with Randall was deep, because he was supposed to have, you know, being linked up with associate of Richard Pena, who's another kingpin. The one that I mentioned, that he was the cousins of Cain and Abel, or some type of relatives or something like that. And one time a situation happened where the feds are trying to mess with Master P due to due to Cain and Abel cousins relative Richard Pena. And it resulted in Master P had to let them go because they was so-called associated with Pena, and this endangered Master P for getting No Limit Records shut down. You know, the feds was following Master P every time he went somewhere. Every time he tried to buy a house, the feds was there. Every time he bought a new car, the feds was there. Every time he did anything, that when he went to go even sign Snoop to No Limit, the feds was there. You know, he kept telling them, come on, man, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not tied in to no streets. I'm not out here slinging dope and all that. If you got me on something, take me in right now. So, it resulted in Master P had to go into the feds, but Johnny Cochran to have, you know, the feds to let up off him because they was giving him a hard time. And you know, in the Feds magazine, P mentioned that his cousin, Randu Watts, or Calliope Slim, was connected with Pina in some form of fashion. Like, I don't know the details of it, but you know, that's what he mentioned in the Feds magazine, and he mentioned that when you used to say Randu name, that people would run, like they was that terrified and that scared of Randu, you know. And Randall had a brother by the name of T-Dub. You know, I heard some stories about him that, you know, that he got caught up in the streets. Like, some things happened to where he wound up, he's supposed to have been, like trying to scare somebody that he thought was an informant. And the way he tried to scare him is that he tried to, like, send off a warning shot at the dude. And the bullet ricocheted off the ground and hit the dude. And it resulted in, T-Dub or Troy Watts being arrested. Like, it's crazy out here, you know. I don't have or know that much on T-Dub, but I heard that, you know, plus, you know, that he was caught up out there and he was sat down and talked to by his father about his actions. He told him, because at this time when T-Dub was in jail and he came out, that there was a different landscape. Like, Calliope was like demolished, you know, and the whole everything that he once saw and that everything that he once grew up with around Calliope was no longer of it. It was a new landscape and new like drug gangs out there, and he tried to reestablish himself back into the street. You follow? So yeah, man, you know, Randall, his favorite drink was a Heineken. You can see that from his picture in the mural, and that they was pouring that on his casket, and that video they had on CNN when P had went back to Calliope to do his breakthrough album for True to the Game. You know, like 1997 was that year for P, you know, and that's what it is, you know. So, Godspeed.